Intimacy. This is the place to be to learn all about love, sex, and how to have the best relationships you possibly can. I am Jami Lynn. I am a therapist in the Austin area, and today we're going to be talking about stress. Part of the reason why we're talking about stress is because I have noticed myself being stressed out, and I wanted to return to all the things I know about how to deal with that. And I just wanted to share it with you because we live in a stressful world. Everyone needs to know how to do these things. It is so important for living a healthy life, a happy life, and then interacting with others in a way that really brings everyone positive experiences. So let's get started. First, I want to just briefly talk about stress. I remember the very first time I read about this. It was in Robert Sapolsky's book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And it was enlightening to me to think about the reality that stress is actually meant to be an acute experience. So in the natural world, in the wild world that we all evolved out of, all animals are designed to have an acute stress experience where something happens and the stressor might be being chased by something that will eat or harm you. And our nervous system, our whole entire being is built to mobilize us to do something that will allow us to survive. We're built to save our life in those experiences. And so what actually happens on a physiological level is we get a burst of cortisol and adrenaline, and those hormones are meant to motivate our body into doing something that would be life-saving. And when we do the life-saving behavior, running away, then we discharge the energy buildup that those hormones have put into our body, and we're able to equalize. And so in nature, what you see is an animal spots a lion about to chase them. I'm just picturing a gazelle now. So a gazelle spots a lion, runs from it, makes it back to the herd, and there might be a little bit of shaking that happens after that, but usually the run is enough. In nature, what we see, if there's the inability to do the run movement, so I'm thinking of a different video where some people are following a polar bear in a helicopter and they tranquilize it. They go down, they take some measurements, and then they fly away. But on their way out, they're watching to make sure that the polar bear is okay. And what they see is the polar bear starts moving its body on the ground as it's waking up, as though it's running. And then there's a period of spasming, shaking. And then after that, the polar bear gets up and just walks off, totally normal. Our body has built-in innate ways to let go of stress so that we can continue to live. And animals who are out in the wilds, they still only really experience that kind of acute stress, and they have all the natural survival instincts to complete the stress cycle in order to keep living the best life that they possibly can. We animals, human beings, we're a little different. So our stressors tend to actually be more long-term and chronic. So they would be things like anxiety in a job that you really, really struggle in or don't even like. Or maybe you're walking around eggshells in your relationship. Or maybe it's just that you say mean things inside of your head. That is a chronic stressor. That is going to send your nervous system into a stress response. And you'll be doing that to yourself consistently enough that you have an overflow of these hormones that are meant to just be acute, meant to be life-saving, and then dissipate. And instead, because humans, we think ourselves into stress, and we experience ongoing chronic issues that cause us pain internally, usually in our mind, thoughts. What ends up happening is we have buildup of hormones that are not good for us. And you can read Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. It's one of my favorite books. If you're interested in all the physiology that goes into this, understanding the hormones more, understanding what's going on in our whole body when we have long-term stress, and then also the effects of that. There are so many negative effects on the body, shorter lifespan, chronic illness, and all of that you can check out in Robert Sapolsky's book. It's excellent. I do recommend it. But really what I want to get into today is more about how you can release the stress cycle. And my favorite book for that is actually this one. It is called Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski. They are twins. They are awesome. Ugh, I love them. I first found Emily Nagoski because she is a sex educator. And then her sister, Amelia, decided to write this book. They wrote it together. And I listened to it the first time I read the book. I listened to it on Audible. And hearing the two of them is such a fantastic experience. There's so many little moments where their personality shines through and it's wonderful. But I ended up buying the book as well because it is so good and I wanted a physical copy. So in this book, they outline 7 different things that you can do in order to release the stress cycle. Pretty much all of us are experiencing stress in our lives. And because it's chronic, we might not be totally aware of what's going on. So if a lion chases you, you know that that is a stressful moment and is an acute stressful moment. Hopefully you made it away from that lion and you had the opportunity to run and get that feeling out of you, and now you've equalized. That is the hope. If instead you're in an experience where what's going on is like you really don't like your job, or you're in a relationship that's tough, or you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're a failure, that you're too big, too small, whatever the case may be. All of that is going to cause stress in your life. And the ways that you will see it showing up is you might notice yourself doing the same thing over and over again, something that does not feel good to you, something that's not actually serving you, but you're doing this pattern behavior because it's all you can do. So I catch myself watching Netflix for more than a single or 2 episodes, because a single or 2 episodes, that's like a lovely treat. But if I'm watching 4, 5, 10 episodes of something, I am deep in the stress cycle and I might not have even noticed it yet. Some other things that might happen is you might have really big reactions to things that are going on around you, and the reaction does not fit whatever happened. So maybe your kids do something that is very much a kid thing. They mess up in some way, they're immature, they don't know better, and you fly off the handle. That would be one of these moments where it's not actually about what the kid did. You know that they're immature, that they don't know any better yet, that they're doing their best. And also, they're young. They're built to kind of push our boundaries and see what they can do. It's not their fault. So you know all that, but the reaction, because you're so stressed out in the rest of your life, might be really overblown. Another thing that might be happening that can let you know that you're stressed out when maybe you haven't caught it yet would be possibly hiding in some way. So taking lots and lots of naps, sleeping a lot, not wanting to go out and do things, not wanting to be around people, wanting to cocoon inside your home and yourself and not share yourself with the world, not go out and experience the world. That's a sign that you were stressed out. It is not a sign that there is something wrong with you. It is just a sign that your body is experiencing too much stress, too much chronic stress, and you need to do things to let go of the stress response. And then you can start addressing whatever's going on in your life that's causing that stress, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your own thoughts or something else. And then another thing that could possibly tell you that you're stressed out would be if your body's just off. And this could be like you're not sleeping well. You're eating either in big spurts where you're eating a lot and maybe you don't feel comfortable, or you're not eating. You might notice that pooping has gotten off for you, that your bowel movements are no longer regular. They might be sluggish, they might be loose, who knows? But those are all signs that there is something going on that is creating a stress reaction inside your body. And you need to deal with releasing the stress so that you're able to go deeper into, okay, what's going on? What's causing me stress? Are there things I can change in my life that would change this pattern? But it all starts with releasing the stress cycle. And so there are 7 things you can do to release stress in your body. And we're going to talk about them. I'll go through them quickly and then I'll go more in depth. So just real quick, I'm going to list them. Physical activity, breathing, positive social interactions, laughter, affection, crying, and some kind of creative expression. So some of these are self-explanatory, but I will still hit them a little bit just to give you some examples and give you some ideas about what you could do to release stress. When it comes to physical activity, it could be all kinds of things. Walking, running, yoga, powerlifting, swimming, dancing, anything that gets your body moving. And if none of that feels good to you, then it could be something as simple as just tightening your muscles and then releasing them. Holding them so tight that you actually start to shake a little bit. That's happening inside my body right now. And then letting go. Physical activity is one of the quickest ways to move through a stress experience and to begin building some resilience inside of your nervous system, because historically that would have been one of the main things we would do. Is if there is a threat, we would run from it. And so that physical output is actually really good for releasing stress response. The next one, breathing. What's more important is a slow breath where the exhale is longer and you exhale to the point where like your belly contracts completely. And then you take the inhale whenever you feel ready to breathe again. So it's not like a forced breath in any way. It's more about taking long exhales and then an inhale whenever you need to take the air back in. So here's one way to do it. You could do a 6-second out breath. And you would just keep doing that. This is down regulating to the nervous system. And you could do that for as long as it takes until you start to feel yourself begin to like, calm down. Next one would be positive social interactions. Reaching out to a caring other, being with a caring other would be even better. If you're physically with them, that is wonderful, but calling them works too. And just getting some support, sharing with them what's going on. It's important that you contact someone who's able to listen deeply and offer compassion and really just be there with you, rather than somebody who's going to move into like unsolicited advice, or they're too distracted to really listen to you. Like, no, that would not be the kind of interaction I'm talking about. Positive social interaction is with someone who you can trust to be there with you, not necessarily for you either. There's give and take always. But in a moment, whenever you really need them, they can step back and just be with you as you describe whatever's going on in your life. It's a compassionate, listening other. The next one is laughter. And I'm talking about big belly laughs, like where you feel like you're about to cry because you're laughing so hard. And there are tons of ways you could get this as well. Turning on something funny that you know will make you laugh. Attending comedy shows. Being with people, your friends who you know make you laugh. And I have not tried this yet, but I am going to as soon as I find a class in Austin. But there's laughing yoga where you can do like big belly laughs during your yoga class. And I think that's brilliant. And it would feel a little less strange to be manufacturing laughter in a group where everyone is doing the same thing. So if you're not sure like what comedy would give you a big belly laugh, then try something like that. It will absolutely work if you put yourself into it and really try and do the practice. The next one is affection. For this one, I tend to think more of like affectionate touch. So a great example would be a belly to belly hug until you relax. Both people are standing completely on their own 2 feet, that one isn't leaning more on the other. That does not end up being comfortable, but both people are standing completely on their own feet. The way I usually do this with folks is I like have them put their bellies up against each other without putting their arms around each other first. And just make sure you've got all your weight so you're not leaning on the other person, and then wrap your arms around them and do about a 20-second hug, just until you feel yourself begin to relax. Another really good way to release stress is crying, having yourself a big, beautiful, gorgeous cry. And a lot of people don't like the feeling of it. I know I don't always like the feeling of crying in the moment, but afterwards, after I've had a really good, like, body wrenching, soul wrenching cry, I feel better. And there's a reason for that. Cortisol actually leaves our body in tears. It's one of the ways you can dispel cortisol that's been built up in your body. And so that is an excellent way to release stress. And then this last one, creative expression, is using your energy to create something that would help you process, help you release, help you move through whatever might be stressful. And so the creative exercise could be painting, it could be dancing. So that would still be movement, but it's still creative. You move into a more dancing space. It could be baking something, if that's your creative outlet. It could be working in your garden. Anything that brings about your creative expression will help allow you to release stress. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you will try a few of these. They are not going to hurt you. Even if you're like, oh, I'm not that stressed out in my life, I'm pretty good. Do these anyway. They are so good for us. Anytime that you experience yourself getting a little bit out of whack internally, try one of these 7 things and see what happens. Most of them, it's actually important to do every single day. So I know in my practice, in my life, I make a point to do physical activity, to do some kind of creative expression, and to do breath work every single day. And then bonus, if I get some laughter in, if I get some time with my friends and family and loved ones, and if I get some physical affection, those are all bonuses. But the ones that I can control, I do every single day. Breath practice, movement practice, some kind of creative expression to release those parts of myself. And I hope you will do the same. And tell me what it's like for you. What happens whenever you start doing these? How does your relationship change? Because it will. I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you in future ones. If you liked this, do remember to hit the like button and send it to anyone you think might benefit. I really appreciate your support. Remember to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time with more tips and tools about how to build a love life and a life that truly brings you joy and peace. See you then.